Hey, all you zombie fans, this is Matt Jarbo, your host of the Zurvivalist, the only podcast on the net talking about zombie survival tactics. And with us today, we have Day from Texas. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm fine. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for being here. So you are also in the horror news world. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Well, I am the managing editor of horrornews.net, as well as the executive producer and co-host of both podcasts, The Podcast from Hell and The Gash. And I do some acting, some modeling, some writing, and a lot of debauchery. So
Debauchery is always fun, especially when you deal with horror stuff. But that's where most of the fun from horror movies come from. So, all right. Well, obviously you're very busy, so we don't want to keep you too long. But let's get down to it. How would you survive a zombie outbreak?
Well, see, we had a conversation about this the other day about zombie outbreaks, and I always said I would make sure to become one of the first zombies so it could actually be the queen of the zombies. But if I'm trying to actually not become a zombie, that's a good one. I would have to say I would have to get a lot of ammunition, a lot of weapons, of course, different types of firearms, and probably a lot of flammables to go along with it, as well as locking myself up on a high floor. In New York, how you can get up in those apartments and they have like the steps that go outside your apartment. I would probably live on the top floor and then go down the fire chute if they happen to come up. But I don't think that they're really smart enough to open doors, so I shouldn't be too worried about that.
Probably not. Yeah. Most zombies they're typical, just bumbling around trying to eat all the flesh that they can and go from there. But the queen of the zombies aspect I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah. I mean, why, if you can't beat them, join them. I figure what I would do is somehow become one of the first zombies and then make all the other zombies my minions to do my evil bidding.
Any particular method of mind control? 'Cause I'm curious, like, how would you make them your minions?
I'd probably start people collecting, just, collecting different people and probably their kids, and just start throwing them human parts whenever, train them like you would a dog. Like, good boy, here's a baby's arm. That's really ugly, I'm just kidding.
Wow. This show has gone to a whole new level. You're talking about feeding people baby arms. That is awesome. That's how you do it. So, you said earlier that you want to get a lot of ammunition and go from there. Do you have like a place in mind? Like, what part of the state are you in?
Well, right now I'm in Nevada. I'm in Las Vegas.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You're in Vegas?
Mhm.
Okay. Sorry, I got it wrong. I thought you were in Texas. My mistake.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, so you're in Vegas. All right. Now this takes it to a whole new level. Now, what would you do in Vegas?
Well, I mean, you really have to think about things, because you think about if you keep yourself somewhere, right, how would you eat? How would you survive? You would really have to go to camp, I don't know. Now, here's my question. In this world, if they bite you, if you come in contact with their saliva, that's what transmits the zombie disease with their blood. Because if not, well, even if so, I mean, you would just kill a zombie and cook him up. You'd have to resort to cannibalism, but it's really the only way that you could survive.
True.
Because it's not like you could really go out and, go to the grocery store.
Yeah, you can't order a deep dish pizza.
Yeah, exactly. You just kill a couple zombies, fry them up for dinner. Boil them a little bit, make sure you kill whatever virus is in there turning people crazy. And
that might be how you get your minions, is you feed them zombie flesh that's been diluted, and distilled, so it's not completely, turning. It's just really great on, rye bread and mayonnaise.
In that way, I wouldn't have to give them any baby arms.
Yeah, you save the babies, because the babies are our future.
Yeah, that would work.
Okay, so food aside of what we feed people. Yeah, so you have a point there. You have to eventually start foraging, but in the beginning, you'd be able to scavenge and salvage other means of.
Somewhat. I mean, you would be able to go for pretty much anything canned, because there'd be no one really to farm anymore, so you wouldn't have any fresh vegetables. They're the meat would only keep so long in the stores. So, of course, eventually that's all going to spoil.
True.
So, I mean, you could live for so long off of the canned and dried products. But eventually, if you want meat, you're going to have to eat a zombie.
Well,
no, I mean, no, why not?
Well, true. I mean, plus you're in the middle of the desert more or less, so all the food has to be all shipped in anyway.
Pretty much, yeah.
So if you were, pretty isolated out there, do you think you would like stay in the suburb part of the city, or would you move more towards the strip to like establish maybe a base of operation in one of the hotels?
I would probably make my base operation Stratosphere, since that happens to be the tallest building, and really the only way to get up is through elevator, so you could shut the elevator off when you're upstairs. And the camera. I mean, you can close off the door and then shut off the elevator, and nobody can come up unless you want them to come up. So yeah, that might be the only thing you have to look at. Then though, is eventually you're going to run out of power.
Yeah,
and then we have to move downstairs into another building. But there's enough places around here to hide that, with all the casinos and all the different buildings and areas, that it wouldn't be too hard to kind of move around from place to place. The only thing is Vegas is so populated that if everybody turns zombie, you're pretty much screwed. Unless you came up with a really good plan, like being queen of the zombies and giving people baby arms.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid plan. So, okay, let's say that you're out of supplies, you're stuck, you're like one of the last people in Vegas. Where would you go? Like, where do you think you would want to head for that last, like, bastion of salvation?
The beach.
Like, head towards L.A.?
Yeah, probably not L.A. once again. Those are one of the more populous places. Somewhere, like around Montecito, somewhere of those places where, it's kind of like the Ritchie areas.
Okay.
Because I'm sure you can go find some really cool stuff in there. And then Oprah lives over there, too, so you can go raid her house and eat her dogs. But then there's the beach right there. So you go far enough into the beach so the zombies can't swim all the way across the water. If you need food, you have fresh food right there within the water. And then, kind of somehow make a little home there. Because if I'm going to die, I'd rather die on the beach than in the desert, period.
That's true. The beach would be much more peaceful, and then you could at least fish, and there would be, some way of sustaining life rather than, staying in the desert where there's, like, scorpions and stuff.
Exactly.
So, okay, well then, let me ask you, if you said you want to become queen, but what if you can't become queen and, because we're running out of time, what if you were bit? What would you do?
I would if I have living people around me, if I have other living people around me, I would probably ask them to shoot me, just so I wouldn't take any of their lives. I wouldn't become a threat to them. I would be the person like, here, dude, take the gun, blow my head off.
Would you wait until you became a zombie, or would you have them just do it beforehand so you don't have to go through that?
For their sake, because shooting me would be more, I think would be mentally hard for them. If I'm around them, apparently, they care about me and I care about them.
Yeah.
So actually shooting me might be a little too hard for them. I would let them wait till I turned. And, kind of like on Shaun of the Dead when Mom comes up.
Oh, yeah,
and then he and he shoots her, pretty much that type of scenario. That way they're not really shooting, they're not killing me. I'm already dead. They're killing the virus that is now taken over my body.
Well, that's pretty solid, I mean, if you look at the overall realm of zombies, then being their queen or being on a beach could fit in the world. So, well, thank you very much. That's all the time we have for this week. Interview just went by really quick, and for all of you guys listening at home, you can always head over to horrornews.net for more of Day's podcast and reviews and editorials. And thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It was fun. I'm
glad to have it. And then for all of you guys listening at home who want to get more Zurvivalist, you can find us at youtube.com/KZOM Radio, Facebook/KZOM Radio, Twitter KZOM. We're KZOM across the net, so you guys find us all in there. Also search for us on iTunes and on Zune. So we'll see you guys next week on the show. See you later.